This is the New York City FC Pregame Live. Tonight, New York City head across the Delaware River to take on the Philadelphia Union. And now, here are your hosts, Glenn Crooks and Matty Lawrence.
Well, it really is truly one of the great views in Major League Soccer here in Chester, Pennsylvania, the Commodore Bridge over the Delaware River. And then we've also got a pretty good game coming up, we would hope, as Philadelphia will play host to the New York City Football Club. And we're going to have the live commentary. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Matty Lawrence. And beginning at 7:15 with a pregame show where we feature 12 minutes with the gaffer, Pascal Janssen, describing some things from the Red Bull victory and also previewing Philadelphia. Then the kickoff set for 7:40 Eastern. There are a number of other games being played today. Inter Miami, New England, Orlando, Columbus, Red Bull Cincinnati, Chicago, and Toronto all being played at pretty much the same time. And, Matty, we might as well kick off by talking about two Eastern Conference teams who are above the playoff line, have qualified for the playoffs, but now people are kind of scrambling to see who's going to finish in the top four. Charlotte played up two players for nearly 60 minutes, and they ended up edging DC United at Audi Field 1-0. And then Nashville in Montreal, down a goal, came back and got the point 1-1. But where that leaves the standings right now, Matty, Philadelphia on top. They are the Supporter Shield leaders, and if they can beat New York City FC here tonight, they will clinch. There's other scenarios where if they draw or lose, they could still clinch the Supporters Shield. We won't go through all those because they're myriad. Then at Cincinnati, Charlotte moved into the third position with that win, and the New York City Football Club in fourth, Miami fifth, and Nashville sixth. So New York City starts the day in fourth in that position to host in the best 2 out of 3, have the home field advantage. But you're going up against a team that not only is the best in MLS, but they are pretty dominant at home.
Yeah, they are. Look, we unfurled our hammocks, didn't we? And we watched, though, a bit of the Charlotte game and a little bit of the Nashville game. Yep. The Charlotte game obviously didn't go for NYCFC, and Charlotte jumped above NYCFC. But the Nashville game, obviously, that was a good result from NYCFC's point of view. But certainly, as you say, today's game and for NYCFC, for me, it's a must-not-lose game. You're absolutely spot on about Philadelphia Union. This team do not lose at home. Well, saying that, they've lost once at home this year. It was way back on March the 16th.
To Nashville.
Since
March the 16th. Yeah, so there you go.
Since then, it is played 14, won 10, drawn 4, lost none at home. Since then. So we're going back a long way, 6 months since they lost a game. Unbeaten in 14, and they score a hatful of goals as well, 30 and 14. It's over 2 goals per game. They only concede 11 in 14, less than 1 per game. So it's a tough task for NYCFC. But we can't forget about NYCFC. In the last 6 games, they've away from home, won 5, drawn 1. They've been absolutely phenomenal away from home in the last 6. They've got 16 points in the last 6 away games compared to 7 points in the first 10 away games, Glenn. Yeah. So they're absolutely in tip-top form. You are facing pretty much here today, squaring off pretty much the best team at home against the best team away from home right here, right now in MLS. It should be a fantastic game. It really should. And I don't even think I'm putting the mockers on it. Normally I say tongue-in-cheek, it's going to be a 0-0 and a dull game. But I just don't see that today. There's too many good players on show. And that's in goal and in defence. So it's possible that defence is, come out on top. But I still don't see it being 0-0, Glenn.
Well, the mystery will be solved. Everyone wondering about Matt Freese and Alonso Martinez, who were cleared to play, as announced by Pascal Janssen on Thursday after training. But in about 5 minutes, we'll reveal the starting 11 to see if indeed Freese is in goal and Alonso Martinez is starting at striker, because there is still that option that they may not.
Look, if Freese is clear to play, he plays. It's as simple as that, you would imagine, wouldn't you? Because why would you not put the US men's national team goalkeeper in goal? But you're right, we don't know. And although he's been cleared to play, you're never quite sure whether that truly means he's 100% or not. And with concussions, with a head injury, you have to be very, very careful. Something could have reared its ugly head on the way down here last night, something could rear its ugly head in the warm-up as well. So the assumption would have to be that Freeze would play. And if Alonso Martinez is fit as well, you would think, or even if he's 90% fit, Alonso Martinez, you would think he starts and goes as long as he can, Glenn. You would assume, but of course we don't know that yet.
Before we as we await the starting 11 and then dig a little bit deeper, there was a major announcement within the New York City Football Club this week, the departure of David Lee, who has been there from the start in various capacities, but since Claudio Reyna left as the sporting director for the New York City Football Club, he has accepted a position with Sporting KC, a 7-year contract to run their sporting side. Whatever the title of the job is, we were discussing that on the way in. All these different titles. We met with Jay Cooney on the Philadelphia side a little bit before. I've known Jay for many, many years. He's got a very long title, but he's the.
It took him 10 minutes to tell us what his job title was.
He's the video analyst. He's the video performance analyst, and his title is. But anyway, so David Lee. So I, in speaking to Pascal Janssen, I wanted to ask him just a bit about their relationship, and Pascal talked about really how they met and how he was recruited. And, one question is, what convinced him? But anyway, that's all within this.
David reached out to me quite a while back. We started discussing this possible project in New York, and he's the one who convinced me to come to the MLS and come and work in New York. So I'm very sorry and sad to see him go. But like in life, you get opportunities and you have to think about it. And he's made a choice to leave, and that means I wish him all the luck and all the best in Kansas when he starts there.
What was one thing he told you that helped convince you to take this position? Because in recruiting, it's players, but it's also coaches.
Yeah, well, he did a great job. I think we have to thank my my wife for that as well, because when he came out to Holland, she cooked some Dutch dish, and he's not a big eater, but he took 2 plates and was very happy when he left the house. So I think that's one of the things that convinced him to go for us.
Well, family's always a part of the decision, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he did that very well in order to make sure that my inner circle was also convinced of this project, and that's one of the reasons why we came.
Well, David Lee now has to go out and hire another coach, but who knew that, the cooked meal, and you're right, on the way over, you also, well, what was the meal? We don't know. So this will be a follow-up to Pascal, exactly what was cooked. I don't know what Dutch food is personally, except pancake.
Hash cakes.
They're known for their pancakes, I think.
And hash cakes if you're in Amsterdam.
Okay. Well, we'll leave that for another. It is legal, and who knows? I'm sure there's a YouTube podcast out there that reflects all the different aspects of the hash cakes. Thank you, Matty.
Yeah, that's okay.
Amsterdam is a
wonderful
Amsterdam.
place.
It has.
Just don't cycle into the canal.
That's Matty. I'm Glenn. We do have the live commentary upcoming. We do this before every game, an hour before every game. It's called NYCFC Pregame Live. It's called live because we are live. We are here. We are with the team on the road. We're obviously at the home games here. We're at Subaru Park in Chester, Pennsylvania, overlooking the Delaware River. It's a wonderful sight. And for New York City, they're just 1 win away from tying the team record for wins in a season. They had 18 in 2019. They do no chance of catching the all-time points total. In that same season, they had 64. They have 56 with the possibility of reaching 62 if they can win their final 2 games. And New York City coming off the Hudson River Derby victory, 3-2 over the New York Red Bulls, down 2-1. Andres Pereira scores a fantastic glancing header that goes over Carlos Coronel into the back of the net. That ties it. And then he's got this header on target that Coronel makes a beautiful save on. In fact, Matty Lawrence, we have a very long clip here from our commentary, sort of the lead into this play. So I think you're featured here at the beginning. So the game-winning goal coming up. The game-winning goal coming up from Thiago Martins.
Pereira's jumped up, arms by his side, and cleanly won it. If he could have got a bit more on it, that would have gone into the back of the net.
That was close. Pereira already with a spectacular headed goal. which for the time gave New York City a 2-1 lead. It's 2-2. And here's the overlapping Gustavo getting around Wolf, working the ball. Was he fouled? Yes, by Duncan. So Raul Gustavo working his way out of the back. A little 1v1 move, kind of a shimmy there to draw the foul on Duncan.
Gustavo looks pretty comfortable there at left back, Glenn.
That he does. Maxi Morales, Fernandez, Mercal, 5 yards from this near touchline, and just about 5 yards from the corner on the Red Bull side of the field. Morales will deliver, mid-six, header, and the finish! It was Pereira who got the initial header, and then it was a follow by Thiago Martins. Martins will get credit for the goal. Give Pereira credit for another thunderous header. How about that? Morales with the delivery. Pereira with the header. Martins with the rebound. Just his second career goal for New York City. 3-2 for now. Coronel talking to the referee. Well, to no avail. But Thiago Martins, we have talked about it. 11 times he's had headed opportunities on the attacking side in front of goal and has been shut out. Finally, he used his feet for an impossible miss. I mean, he was less than a half yard out, but he was alert enough. And I think it's interesting when we listen to Pascal Janssen next regarding Andres Pereira, what they do in training and why Thiago Martins. So will be the mystery. Why Thiago Martins was alert enough. It's something that's embedded in these players in training. And Pascal Janssen is going to describe that in a moment. But for now, here's the starting lineup. And good news for New York City FC. Alonso Martinez and Matt Freese will both be in the 11. Kevin O'Toole is back at the side as well. And Raul Gustavo will move from left back to left central defense next to Thiago Martins. Justin Hack back in the midfield. Aiden O'Neill on the bench as well. The two changes, Ojeda and O'Neill, are out.
If you are Ojeda or O'Neill, you feel hard done by, I think. But that's the beauty of playing well and having a bigger squad, strength in depth, that the manager has difficult decisions to make. I think that while Gustavo, and we said it in that clip, Gustavo does well at left back. He looked pretty natural there. His best position is definitely left side of a two at centre half. And you've got the two Brazilian boys playing alongside each other. It's a natural balance. Right. Unlike Hack, it works the best. I think this is the back four that Pascal Janssen wants to use. And we know that Justin Hack is a cannot drop. You cannot drop him right now. You have to find somewhere to play him, whether it's right back, left-sided centre half, or centre midfield. You can't drop the boy. He's been magnificent all season long, and that means it's very, very difficult. It means you've either got to drop your Aiden O'Neill, who's a new signing, somebody you brought in to be a real figurehead on the field and in the dressing room, or Pereira. And you cannot drop Pereira after the goal and basically the headed assist. I know it doesn't get classed as an assist, but for the winner, that's a Pereira assist in my eyes, Glenn. So O'Neill is the unlucky man dropping out. You have to feel sorry for him. He hasn't done anything wrong, in my opinion, but tough decisions for the manager to make, and he'll enjoy having those tough decisions.
Well, you can't take Pereira out, and we're going to review him in just a moment. And just what you said about Justin Hack. And we've brought this up before. Between those three, somebody's going to miss out if Raul Gustavo becomes a regular at the back. And that seems to be exactly what Pascal Janssen wants. He's talked to us about it very early in the season, that he likes that balance in central defense, a right footer, a left footer, and then two Brazilians who could communicate. I mean, that really adds to the sense of it. I before we get to Pascal talking about Pereira, you just look at the bench, though, Matty. So you do have O'Neill on the bench. Now you have Ojeda back on the bench where he has excelled. He's got 5 assists. All 5 of his assists are over the last 8 games for New York City. Julian Fernandez, who has been more productive. I mean, you start right there. Johnny Shore, Bicha Ilinic, Seymour Reed, and Strahinja Tanasiewicz also, and then Tomas Romero, the backup keeper. That's about the strongest we've seen the bench in a while.
It absolutely is. The only truly inexperienced 2 players there are Carrizo and Reed. I know Shaw's young, but he's played an awful lot of football for the first team. Carrizo hasn't played that much, but even Seymour Reed, he's played quite a number of minutes, hasn't he? And he's done well.
Important minutes, like so coming in games to secure
got the goal
3
just
points
a few weeks ago.
Right, and got his first
as you
goal.
say, this is not as strong as it can get in MLS, but this is right up there, Glenn. And especially when, as you said as well, and rightly so, Fernandez and Ojeda and O'Neill, they're hitting form as well. And I think we'd be doing a disservice to Tanasiewicz as well if we said that he wasn't doing well when he's been called upon, whether that's off the bench or to start. So I'm absolutely with you right now, Glenn. This is a strong starting lineup and a very, very strong bench, but it needs to be to play this Philly Union side.
All right, so Andres Perea, I put out a post, I think yesterday, because I truly believe this. If you name the most valuable player in the New York City Football Club over the last 5 or 6 games, I'm going to pick Andres Perea. Yeah. I mean, he was a monster in the air against the New York Red Bulls in both boxes, but I brought him up to Pascal Janssen, and in regard also to the game-winning goal by Martin. So here's a 90-second clip from my 12-minute interview coming up, the one-on-one on the pregame show, which airs at 7:15.
Yeah. Describe Perea's growth, because it wasn't there as dominantly, throughout the season as it appears to be now.
Well, one thing is that Pepe has worked so hard to be available. He was struggling. He came off a very serious injury last season, played with a lot of pain in several games in last season. So our focus and Pep's focus was on being healthy and being available and getting stronger and stronger. And if you see his profile is very impressive all over, because he has the profile of a modern midfield player. He can connect build-ups. His game awareness, intelligence is at a good level. The physical attributes he has to run up and down and play box to box are very impressive. And his air game is very impressive, defensively and attacking. We've been spending a lot of time in order to have him grow in the attacking aspect as well, because, as I said, he's a natural header, but making sure that you have your runs right and your timing right and connection with the delivery, those were things that he needed to improve, and we needed to improve as a team. And in the Red Bull game, you could see from the 3 goals that we made, 2 very important moments from Pepe, because the third goal was also well taken and good delivery from Maxi, and he got the first touch with a great save. But the follow-up, like we do in training, if you score a rebound, you get 2 points. So my guys are always eager to be there for the second ball.
There it was, just a little training device. Get 2 points instead of 1 for a rebound goal. Constraint training is one of the things they call CLA, constraint. And it's done in a lot of different sports where you've done it where you've had limited touches maybe in a certain area.
Absolutely.
That sort of thing.
So often we would do 2 goals for a header or for a rebound, so which would be half impressive for Thiago Martins. The headed bit not so much, but a rebound he's got that.
Maybe he needs to give it 5 points for the header and just encourage it.
Absolutely. But you're right, and that just breeds that desire and want to follow up, doesn't it? And the way Thiago Martins followed up, that was bred on the training ground, as so many things are. Practice makes permanent, practice makes perfect, however you want to class it, Glenn. It absolutely is. Training should replicate a game as closely as possible, and that's a good way of replicating a game, forcing those kind of situations in training where 2 points or 2 goals for a rebound. I like that.
Well, this is our view for the game tonight. Wonderful. The pitch looks in great shape, as you can see, the home of the Philadelphia Union. Subaru Park in Chester, Pennsylvania, as New York City visits Philadelphia. It's the next to last game of the regular season. It's the last game before the international break. New York City off until October the 18th when they host Seattle in the Decision Day game, which will go a long way, I think, in determining the placement in the Eastern Conference. And let's face it, when we look at the East, Matty, and we were talking about this with Jay Cooney on the Philadelphia staff who came up for a visit a little bit earlier. Philadelphia right now at the top. They're more than likely going to win the Supporters' Shield. They can clinch tonight. But Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Charlotte, New York City, Miami, Nashville, Orlando, Chicago. Any one of those 8 teams could win the East. They're on the right day. They're good. Is Philadelphia better than Chicago? Of course they are. But it's tough games coming up as well, isn't it? It's not only that. Who can win the East? It's Philadelphia. Will they win the Supporters' Shield?
because they've got to play a very good NYCFC side today, and then they've got to go away to Charlotte, who are very, very strong at home. This league, you're absolutely right. Look,
I forgot Columbus, by the way, that they start the day in 9th place.
Which is frightening, because I know that yourself and I are incredibly fond of Wilfried Nancy as a human being and as a coach and as a manager of a football club. And Columbus can beat anybody on their day, as can Chicago, as you say. Philadelphia are a stronger side because they've proved it throughout the season.
Right.
But on a one-off game or, whether it's a best-of-3 series, those teams can beat anyone, Columbus and Chicago. We've talked about Chicago specifically, and that trio up front, the likes of Zinkernagel and Kuipers, absolutely, Jonathan Bamba. It's
Brian
frightening.
Gutierrez, the goal he scored to clinch a playoff berth for Chicago.
The Eastern Conference is exponentially stronger than the West right now. But again, that doesn't mean that the Western Conference winner won't win a one-off game of 90-minute football in the MLS Cup. So I guess that is the beauty of MLS as well.
And then Philadelphia, they're coming off this 6-0 win over DC United.
Yeah.
Now, we know DC United has struggled. We also know that one of New York City's blemishes of late, and there haven't been many, was a home loss to DC United. 3 times Philadelphia has scored 6 or more goals in a game against DC United. Remember 2022? They beat them 7-0 at home and 6-0 at Audi Field, matching the score at Audi Field from last week. And what else do I have on Philadelphia? Well, they've got one change, and it's an unfortunate one because it's going to be Mikhail Uwa in for Quinn Sullivan. Quinn Sullivan, 12th minute, tore his ACL in that DC United game, so he's out the rest of the way. And that's a difficult loss for Philadelphia. They have depth, and that's one of the reasons they are where they are. So that's the one change. Here's an interesting stat, Matty. I love throwing these at you and getting your thoughts. Philadelphia, 7 wins, 6 losses, and 3 draws, and a +1 goal differential against teams above the playoff line. They have 12 wins, just 1 defeat, and 3 draws, +22 against teams below the playoff line. So what does that tell? Does that indicate anything to you other than they're winning the games they're supposed to, and the games that are going to be tougher are going either way, or is there a sense that they're not as sharp against the top teams?
I think it shows you the parity of the league, but it also, for me, it shows you the mental toughness of this Philadelphia team, that they don't take their metaphorical eye off the ball when they're playing the poorer teams. Because we've said that's the fallibility of NYCFC. They've lost twice to Montreal and drawn and lost to DC United,
that's
two
right.
of the worst teams you've ever seen in
1
MLS.
1 point out of 12.
1 point out of 12. What we do know from NYCFC is that they show up for the big games, but it's it's much easier. When I used to play, if you're playing against Man United or Liverpool, it's much easier to motivate yourselves to play them than to go away from home to Carlisle or somebody. That becomes difficult, and I'll equate that with going to DC United or Montreal. Philadelphia Union are a very strong team mentally, but also, Glenn, you're right. They don't fare that well against the better teams. Only won 7. Draw and lost 6 of them, so it proves that they are fallible against better teams.
Are they out a little early here for their warm-up too? I'm just looking out, and we are 47 minutes.
Yes.
47 minutes away from kickoff.
Yeah, 40 minutes before kickoff is an archetypal time for teams to come out and warm up. Philadelphia Union are already out.
New York City still has not emerged.
Absolutely. So, yes, to answer the question, yes, they're out earlier.
All right.
Or certainly earlier than teams normally come out. I'd say 40 minutes was always a guideline for us when I was playing back in England. And that's a very similar guideline for NYCFC and most other teams.
All right, we're getting set. And just a couple of other things here as we're pretty interested in this one. We're interested in all the games we do for New York City FC. But this one has a high level of possibilities. What I said to Matty on our drive-in is this is the kind of game to me that is a must-watch affair, considering the form of New York City FC, as Matty alluded to, unbeaten in their last 6 after winning only 1 of their first 10. And then Philadelphia, even though they had a bit of a hiccup there with the
7-0 loss.
7-0 loss to Vancouver, where they really rotated. Alejandro Bedoya, the 38-year-old, was playing right back in the game. And they followed that with a loss to Nashville in the U.S. Open Cup semis, 3-1. So back-to-back games they were outscored 10-1, but they bounced back to win twice, including that a rout of DC United. So, it's going to be interesting. Let's there's a couple of things in here, and we should at least tackle them. Larry wants to know, is it true that Ajax wanted to buy Alonso Martinez? No confirmation from the club, but the source where that information came from was very reliable. So I would assume that there was at least some sort of contact and some sort of offer. And New York City being in a position where they can not afford to have Alonso Martinez out of the side in this season, I'm sure it was going to take a massive offer to get him. So
it makes sense. As you say, the source was good. It's reputable. And the club, it's a big club, but it's also a Dutch club that it is not as strong as the bigger clubs elsewhere in Europe. That's for sure. Ajax, we know, is a massive football club, but that's more historically rather than the last few years, certainly into the last probably decade or two, in terms of Champions League play and being the best teams in Europe. It would fit, and I think Alonso Martinez, that's sort of the type of team that he can go to. He's not going to Bayern Munich. He's not going to PSG. No. A little bit because of age as well, and I'm not aging him out the market. But, he is getting up there in terms of age to make a big move to Europe. But certainly that would fit. But what do you think? You would feel it would require sort of an $8 million to $12 million bid to get him. I don't think you would need to pay as much as Lazio did or whoever paid for Tati, the 15 million, but it's an 8 to 12, you'd have thought, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, it had to be something that, all right, we can't turn this down. Yeah. It has to be a massive figure like that. And David Lee was in charge at that moment, but he no longer is. Actually, this is his last game. He leaves for Kansas City on Monday. Is his first day as the sporting director or the Director of Soccer Operations. Sorry, David, I can't remember your exact title. I know you're directing all the sporting side of things. So the question here from DG was, any thoughts on who they would bring in? I do have a thought as to the kind of person they should bring in, and they should bring in someone who understands the MLS landscape. That might just be a simple answer, but we know that Austin brought in Rodolfo Borrello from Manchester City, and he needed all kinds of help. He needs all this assistance. So why not bring in somebody that can step in and guide it from the outset? Could that be a number 2 at another team? Maybe. Yeah. Could it be a number 1, somebody in a prominent role right now who New York City pries away or maybe is out of contract? Don't know all those different things. But it needs to be someone within the MLS landscape who can come in and get it done from that standpoint.
I couldn't agree anymore, Glenn. In terms of that position as well, I think a head coach can come in from a foreign land, if you will, or a foreign type of football and will fit in, as Pascal Janssen has done. But for all the rules, the regulations of MLS play and DPs and TAM and GAM, I'm absolutely with you, Glenn. Because otherwise you're needing to hire multiple people and you just want one person doing that job. And as you say, that has to be for me, it's somebody within North America as we sit here right now.
And you can tell that's the New York City side jogging into their warm-up area to our left. It'll be outside of the camera range once they arrive there. And a chorus of boos, nothing too heavy here from the Philadelphia/Chester crowd.
It's no Galatasaray, that's for sure.
But it is a difficult spot to play, and they are a group that is very passionate here at Subaru Park, and a sellout has already been announced for this one. So we're looking forward to it from that standpoint, too, the atmosphere. To close, Matty, Mauricio Pochettino. So Matty Freese and James Sands, a New York City product who is still a member of New York City, except he has been loaned to St. Pauli, where he's playing full-time in the Bundesliga, and they're in the upper half of the table. Yep. They were 4th in the table through a couple of weeks. But Sands has been called in by Pochettino. So very interesting. They've got games coming up against Ecuador and Australia on October the 10th and 14th, respectively. The Australia one will be fun because Aiden O'Neill is likely to be playing for Australia against perhaps Matty Freese on the U.S. men's national team side. We'll see if Freese just gets the nod again for these 2 games, or does Pochettino do something different there. But I wanted to play at least one of these for you, Matty, because I wanted your take on this. Because we're getting down to the final stages of who he's going to select. And this was an indication, I hadn't heard this before from him, as to how he's assessing and making some of the decisions about who will come along.
But the important is that we are also thinking in a tournament like the World Cup that you need to play every 3-4 days. And if we are thinking into preparing to play not only the first 3 games, if not to go further in the competition, also we need to see players that have the possibility, to play every 3 games. That is why we are assessing player. We call player that with the possibility that every 3 days they can perform again, and they can perform again, because we are seeing that too many players that can be involved with us, they cannot play 2 games or 3 games in a week, and that is really we need to be careful when we are going to build the squad. That is why we are trying to be very focus and assess in the way that we need to build a strong squad with 26 players that can perform every 3 days. Because if not, I think we can put in a dangerous situation to the national team.
So the first player I thought of, Matty, Gio Reyna. A guy who, if there's a question mark, it's his lack of durability. Yeah. And you wonder if a statement like that, I'm not saying he was pointing his statement at Gio Reyna at all, but he looked at a list of players to his right when he made that. He was like, I've got a few players here that they can't play 2 games in a row. But I've never heard him classify it that way. So it's important.
No, but it's an absolutely valid point, isn't it? It's a cup competition. And it comes around. It's only a month long, and if you get to the final, I don't think that the US will get to the final, but they've got to be looking towards quarterfinals, semis to be a successful tournament, as you said. And as he says, you're playing lots of games of football, and you look around at players, and just quickly, Gio Reyna won, Dawood DK. Are those the type of players who were durable enough to play 3 days, 6 days, 9 days? Can they do that, Glenn? And it's absolutely valuable. Why waste one squad position on somebody who doesn't have the ability to last the tournament if they are required to play every game? Move on to the next person. I think that is something that not many people would think about. That's for certain. And all the people bemoaning Pochettino and his choices, give him a chance. You can bemoan him after the World Cup. He says he has a plan,
and he has a way he's going to play. Yeah, so
I don't know what it is, but he has one, and he knows what it is.
And maybe it's not our right to know his plan specifically, because he said, we judge him. We judge anybody with any sense. Judges him at the end of the World Cup next summer. Yeah. That's when he gets completely judged.
But I did say anybody with any sense. So.
All right. One final thing here. I don't know what you think of Ref Cam, Matty. I tend to like it, but after I saw this, you remember Rodrigo Schlegel, certainly infamous in New York City circles for the defender going into the goal and saving the Gudmundur Thorarensen penalty in the 2020 playoffs to eliminate New York City FC. He of Orlando City. He's still there. Check this out. This is he's pleading to the referee. This is from the ref cam. He go, please go to the monitor. Please go to the monitor. Just for that alone, ref cam has to stay. Ref cam. All right. In less than 15 minutes now, airtime 7:15 Eastern on the New York City FC radio network, nycfc.com/radio. And then you sync our audio with the video if you happen to be watching on Apple Television tonight, or if you're just listening to the audio. We will paint the pictures to the level that we are capable, and then let you know what's going on here at Subaru Park, because it's a big one, as you know, as Philadelphia plays host to New York City FC. Philadelphia at the start of the night, Supporter Shield leaders. They will be the leaders in the Supporter Shield no matter what the result. At the end of the evening, on 63 points. New York City starts the night in 4th place on 56 points. They are tied with Charlotte, who's in 3rd, and Miami, who's in 5th on points. Nashville, 2 points off the mark in 6th. So that gives you an idea. Finishing in the top 4 is called critical by every coach. So you get the home field advantage in that opening round best of 3. So this will go a long way in having that happen for New York City if they can get a result here tonight. So for Matty, I'm Glenn. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, and enjoy the game, everybody.